everybody, welcome back. This is Annuity Fundamentals. I'm your co-host, Kylie Malott. We have Ryan Anderson on the line, as well as the one and only Mike Dudley with Aegis Financial. Welcome, Mike. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be
Absolutely.
here.
All right, now let's learn a little bit about Mike here. So Mike is the Senior Vice President of Marketing. You've been with Aegis Financial for a while, and you've been in the business for about 18 years. And I believe you're currently residing in Austin, Texas, or one of the little suburbs outside of Austin, and which explains the fantastic tan you've got going on right there.
So true.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. Let's hear your story, Mike. You've been in the business for 18 years. How did you kind of get going in this? And tell us how annuities changed your life, I guess.
Yeah, I say that I married into the business. So I married my wife, and my wife's family. My wife's grandfather was the president of a life insurance company out of Seattle called Northern Life Insurance Company. And he was the president in the 1970s and 80s. And then in the early 90s, he actually retired as the president. And at that point in time is really when most of the IMOs or FMOs really started to pick up. They started around that time. So he and a few of his sons actually started a FMO at that time called Annuity Professionals. They ran it for quite a few years, and then my wife's grandfather wanted to fully retire, so he retired, and his two sons kind of split their books and went their separate ways. But one of his sons kept his book and kept it going a little bit, working with some agents, but not really. He actually had a body shop as well that was taking up most of his time. My wife and I got married in 2004, and after a couple of years of going through college and whatnot, her uncle called up and said, "Hey, you want to come up to Seattle and sell annuities?" And I said, "What's an annuity?"
So, isn't that the question you always get? What's an annuity? What's going on here?
So 2006, we made our way up to Seattle, and I guess the rest is history. Started to talk about annuities and got licensed, and I went from there. So that's kind of how I got started in the business.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Now, so you're with Aegis Financial. So what do you exactly do with Aegis right now?
Yeah. So right now, what we do is help agents and advisors that are looking to write more annuity business. Whether that's, you're like a greenie, a newbie in the annuity business, or you're seasoned veteran. We can always make those 1% increases and changes to get better. And if we have that compounding effect of making those 1% changes, it's pretty astounding to see what the results are going to be on the back end. And so we, with the different systems and programs that we can provide and help our agents with, whether that's marketing, advertising, branding, how you run appointments, how what to say in appointments, how to close. But then, it also comes down to, okay, I've written a piece of business. What do I do now? I just got off the phone with another advisor that worked with another group, and sending in a piece of new business, and it would sit at the FMO for 3 to 5 days before they would scrub it and send it on. Well, it's 24 hours here at Aegis that we send in the piece of business, and then on top of that, he got paid a lot quicker because the transfer goes out quicker, and everything works out so that we're putting more money into the agent's pocket to hopefully get him to the next level. And that, is really what we do, is just help agents earn a higher revenue by writing more annuity business.
I love that. And you're so right. You hit the nail right on the head. You get a lot of training on how to sell them and then nothing on the back end. Like, it's like the training just stops. And you're like, oh, I wrote it. I'm done. And that's so far from the truth. There's so much to go into it after you get that signature that people just don't realize. They're like, oh, it's like a Medicare app. See you later. Like, we're good. I submitted it. That's it. When it's, you need to call twice a week, and having your guys' services over at Aegis Financial is huge, that you are able to help on the back end. Gosh, that gets your business submitted so much quicker. And if you have submitted business, that means you're making money too. So yeah, 10 out of 10. I agree.
Absolutely.
That is so true. So true. And that's something that, I think, is so lost in the IMO world, or, helping agents out is, okay, you write that business. Now you got to call up or have somebody like an Aegis call up to that transferring company. And we all know money is getting harder and harder to actually move hands. These companies that have it, they're going to try their tactics to make sure that we can make this client so frustrated that they don't want to move that money. And so you need a bulldog on your side that is in that corner for you, calling these transfer companies saying, no, you're going to move the money because that's what the client wants.
I have so been on that side of it, of like, okay, let's get the documents or the money sent over. Yep, that sounds great. You talk to them, they say they sent it and they didn't. That's why having that, like, you need to repeat, call them over and over until you know for a fact that they did send those funds. Because you're right, they'll hold on to it, especially if it's the month end. They'll really hold on to it.
A couple of other things here is now we write through Aegis, and so you guys are fantastic. The company that we used previous to this, the other IMO that we went through for our annuity business, and they gave us the lip service of, hey, yeah, we're going to send this, we're going to help get this stuff shepherded through and all this. And so what would happen is we'd go through, we'd submit an application, and say there was a problem with one of the transfer funds, there was some error that needed to correct. The insurance company would send me an email, and their version of helping me at that point in time was copying me on the same email that the insurance company had sent me. So I'd get it from the insurance company on Tuesday, then I'd get it from the other IMO on Wednesday and say, go ahead and take care of this. Versus yours, Jennifer, she is amazing. This morning she went through and said, you've got to issue these 4 applications we just submitted. They're good. This one, you're going to get it. It's got kicked back, and here's why, with a warning on it to say this particular company will be rejecting the paperwork because they require everybody. And so not only did she just not forward me the email, but I got a preemptive, hey, this is going to happen 3 to 5 days from now. You may want to start getting the process on it. And that level of experience is wonderful. I mean, I remember thinking back when I first started this, that my very first annuity that I'd written on my own was a $50,000 case. And when I say on my own, I wrote it with another agent, but it was my job to shepherd it through. And my only experience at that point in time were Medicare policies and indemnities. And so I thought it was like that. So I sent it on through, and it said, have you checked on it? I was like, yeah. I went on the computer. Yeah, all the paperwork sent off. That thing didn't issue for like 2.5 months. And it wasn't until I was about 6 weeks in, and the guy who was training me, and I can't remember who it was. It wasn't my manager. It was some other agent in the office. Went through and says, are you calling on? I was, yeah, I checked the computer. He's like, no, you've got to call them twice a week. You've got to go on the computer and check it. That this is not a med sup. You actually have to work at this. And but it was completely eye-opening. And that piece right there, which was one of the reasons why I generally work with another agent, because I'm terrible at it, and I kind of make them do it.
Confessions of the Annuity Fundamentals.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there's just, I don't know. I like closing them, but the actual following up on it, I'm just terrible at. And so having a partner that's really, really good at it, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I agree. That is huge.
So, Mike, you mentioned earlier about the 1%. We get that a lot on this podcast. So we got a lot of people coming on and they say just 1% better. What does that look like? What does putting that into play? Speak on that for a little bit.
Now, before you do that, we need to make sure we have credit where credit's due. Most people are referring to the Atomic Habits book by James Clear, the 1% incremental improvements, which Kylie and I have both read. We love it. We'd love to have him on here, but I don't think we can afford him. But it's an amazing book, life-changing. It's one of those actual things you can apply. But anyways, go ahead and jump on that.
So that just leads it right down the path, right? So he says in his book, Atomic Habits, you don't rise to the level of your goals, right? You fall to the level of your systems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he says that everyone on the starting line of the 100-meter race, what's their goal? Their goal is to win the race.
Yep.
But what have they done to prepare? What are their systems that they've done to get them to that, winning that race? So in my opinion, the 1% is figuring out the right systems and processes. If you have those right systems and processes in place, you can duplicate that over and over and over again. Too many times have I seen very good salesmen not hit their potential, maybe hit $3 million of annuity business, maybe $5 million of annuity business, when they could be writing 10, 15, 25 plus $1 million of annuity business,
Mm-hmm.
only because they're all over the place, right? They have some advertising, marketing going on. They get some leads, they write some business, and then they don't duplicate that. They don't set up another set of seminars or whatever it is. It's not consistently going. And then when they get clients in, how are they running those appointments? Is it the same way every single time that we know it's a percentage that you're going to lead these people down the path? And if they're qualified and you can say it in the right way, they're going to see for themselves, this is the right solution for my problem, right? And so having those systems in place and the processes, that is what changes because everyone that, is really out here that has a book of business, been in any type of insurance business for 3 to 5 years, you're a pretty good salesman. You can sell, right?
Yeah.
But that's what separates a $1 to $3, $5 million producer to a $25+ million producer, is what they put in for their systems and processes.
All right. So question for you on this. I am and again, the target people that we generally have listening to this podcast are life insurance agents, Medicare agents who are wanting to add annuities to their toolbox, who are wanting to break into this type of business. I am a Medicare producer, and I've been in the business 3 to 5 years. I've got a couple, 200-300 Medicare clients. I'm doing nice, stable. My income's leveled out. AEP is a busy time for me. What does Aegis, how do you go through and help me take it to the next level? If I showed up on your doorstep and said, I want to sell annuities, what does that look like?
Yeah. Well, first it's, what is your skill level? What's your experience in the annuity arena, right? So is there one shoe that fits everybody's foot? Of course not. We're not going to just, hey, here's the package, boom, boom, for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we need to do is ask the right questions. And that's part of our system and processes. Ask the right questions. Okay, you're a brand new annuity producer. You're trying to go from the health to wealth, right? And add more annuity business. Well, doing what that $25 million producer is doing and the amount of money he's spending on advertising, marketing, branding probably isn't the right thing to do for that, brand new annuity producer. So we're going to ask them the right questions to figure out where they're at in their level, right? And then we're going to find the best, the first thing that you need to do to get any new business, it's to sit in front of qualified prospects, right? That's the that if you sit in front of qualified prospects, then and you don't have a system, you're still going to write $3 to $5 million of annuity business. And if you're doing that on a consistent basis, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing for marketing? And I want to jump into marketing a little bit. You know, when we say marketing and everyone talks about marketing, there's actually two, columns. You've got advertising, and advertising is doing a seminar, doing digital social media ads, Google ads, things like that, doing a radio show, a TV show, things like that actually have people have a call to action where you're going to get a lead from that. That's advertising. But also there's branding. That's the other column. So you got your short term and your long term. That's how I look at advertising and branding. Mm-hmm. Short term is, hey, if I do this seminar next month, I'm going to get 5 to 10, leads or appointments, right? Whereas branding, it's more convoluted as far as actual return on investment, where I'm going to see that. But with the long term, if you build that brand, then that just supplements that seminar, that supplements that radio show, and people know you. And what does that do? It takes you from here, as far as credibility level, to here. You are the expert in that field. That's what branding does. And so when somebody comes in and sits in front of you, the percentage of you being able to help that client out goes up exponentially. It takes time. Branding takes time, but we can start with the advertising, and you always have to have advertising. If you're not doing advertising, meaning seminars, digital social media ads, just a lead gen in general, something is better than nothing, right? Get something done. And then you can kind of lead down the path after you look at the optics and seeing how much is it costing me to actually get this lead, right? Is it $1,000 it's costing me to get this lead? Is it $1,500? Is it $400? How much is it costing? Because then you can say, well, I'm going to try this. This one's only costing me $400 a lead. This one's costing me $2,000 a lead. All right, I'm going to put more money into this one, right? So looking at those optics, but you have to start with something. In my opinion, the easiest way to do that is start with seminars. That is the easiest. And if you look at those agents / advisors that are doing 25 million plus, are they doing just one form of marketing? No. They are doing seminars. They're doing Google ads. They're doing radio. But for the newbie, you shouldn't be doing all those just right off the bat.
Yeah.
Where I recommend is we start with seminars. That's the easiest and most cost efficient way to get the leads in the door, to sit in front of qualified appointments.
Absolutely. I think that for a newbie too, that can be super overwhelming. So just having a starting point, like, okay, let's run a couple appointments and then let's get into marketing for yourself. That was a big thing when I was at our last agency, and I went into Ryan's office and I sat down. I had been in the business about 1.5 years, and I was just like, and he was like, what's going on? I was like, I have all of these products at my fingertips, and I'm begging people to hang out with me. Like there has to be a better way. Like I should be marketing myself so differently, because I'm just buying these leads. I'm writing Medicare business, but it's not enough. Like I'm having to chase these people, and I can beat them like what they have 80%, 90% of the time at the kitchen table. Like our products are superior. Why am I just doing the grind, right? Everyone talks about the grind, and I'm like, there has to be a better grind. Like, I don't want to do this. So we got into the workshop space and literally changed my career, and probably is the only reason I'm here today, because it takes you from just like door knocking, cold calling, to sitting in a group full of, 30 to 40 people who are looking for your information. Those are the clients that I want, who are looking for me, not me looking for them. And it just shifts everything. And you go into it. I started doing Medicare. Like, that was how I started Medicare workshops. Do you think I wrote annuities from them? Absolutely. And then it morphed into the annuity workshops, but you do have to start somewhere. And I agree. That's where my career really blossomed and came to life, was with workshops.
When you did that, and I remember that, as you say, I was like, oh, that was hilarious. Because she came in there, looked like like a wet drowned puppy dog, just like, Ryan.
Oh, take it easy.
It was rough. And so we started with the seminars. Then we did 2 or 3 of them. And it was a month, 2 months later, she came back in. She's like, I love these appointments so much better that I'm going there. The people, they've come to us, whether it was and I would like your opinion here, Mike, on an educational event like at a community center versus a dinner seminar, and what your thoughts are on those, because we were doing both and we still do both, but I'd like your opinion on that. But when she came back, she was like, all right, it is so much nicer. These guys have, I know them, and I show up and they're expecting me, and they've got all their documents out, and it's a completely different experience versus
beautiful thing.
Yeah, knocking on the door and, okay, now do I trust them? I'm not going to give you my Medicare number because I don't know what you're going to do with it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It was just so nice.
Yeah. So to answer the question, as far as educational workshops, libraries, civic centers versus dinner seminars, I agree with you. I think they are both very useful, and I don't think you kick anyone to the curb.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know from doing workshops a long time, you're going to have a lower end workshop, and then you're going to have a great one. And you have to look at it over a period of time. You can't look at it, oh, I had one workshop and it didn't work, and so I'm out. Well, that's not good marketing at all,
No.
And
when does one and done ever work? It doesn't. You're always trying something new. And I appreciated that with you, Ryan. I went in there and was like flabbergasted, whatever. Like, we got to do something different. This is trash. And he was like, okay, this is going to take a couple months. This isn't going to be a 1-time, a 2-time thing. This is going to take some time. And that was such a mental shift that I needed. I didn't know I needed to hear it until he had said it. And then it was like, oh, this is a long game. This isn't just a couple thousand and we'll see how it goes. No, we're going in it, and we're going to test this out for 6 months to a year and make adjustments, because your first presentation is never the best presentation. It just isn't. No matter how well you fine tune it, it isn't. You go, you do it over and over, and you're like, okay, that resonates with people. This doesn't. Let me adjust. So I think you're absolutely right. People go in and they think, oh, I'm going to do this seminar and it's going to change my life forever. No. It's not that simple. It takes multiple. It takes multiple. You're going to go to the same place, same time, same day a week, and you're going to have 50 people show up. You do it again the next month, and there's going to be 6. And you're like, what happened? That's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. So, and that's just a huge expectation I think new agents need to have, is that, it's going to take probably 6 months. Now, with that said, does it mean that you shouldn't transition? Well, no, that doesn't mean that. If there's something better, like let's say you are doing the civic center, library, educational workshops, and in your area, you start trying the dinner workshops and they're working a lot better. Hey, then that's something that you transition. But that goes back to my point as far as optics. And when I say optics, it's important to know, okay, I put in this money for this workshop and I got this out of it. And then not only got this amount of appointments, but then out of those appointments, how many of them were qualified and how many of them was I able to help out and give them a solution and close some annuity business, and how much premium did that actually work out? Because if you look at all of those, and again, if we look at optics, you can't look at it just one time. You have to look at it over bare minimum, and in my opinion, you'd have to do 4 events a month, but bare minimum of 3 months, but I think it's more along the lines of 6 months to really judge how it's working and if it's working well. But if you look at the optics and you say, yeah, it's pretty good. I've written about, $3.8 million out of that 6 months, which is good. And, the average premium is about $138,000, so on and so forth. And then you're like, but I want to try a dinner seminar. Let's try a dinner seminar. And you try that for 3 months. And it's like, wow, you look at it and the cost per lead is a little bit higher. However, out of that same period of time, I wrote 50% more annuity premium. Well, 50% more means 50% more revenue for you, right? So then so that's why it's so important. But I would say, if it's a general rule of thumb for a brand new annuity producer, I like suggesting the educational workshops because it's most cost effective to start with anyways. And then, maybe adopting the dinner seminar. We all know, again, you're paying for dinner, so it's going to be an added cost. But usually, as you guys know, there's usually more people that come to those. Now, some of those are what we call the plate lickers, but
can't get rid of them.
The bane of every seminar's existence are the plate lickers. There's a few of them I'm on a first name basis with in some of the times. So Bob, right. You're here again. Same presentation. Can I just give you a gift certificate and leave?
That's right.
No joke, huh?
Meet with me. Yeah. But the thing about it is something you said there, it can actually work the other way. And absolutely true story. We use a company called Lead Shop to fill our seminars, and their website's leadshop.org. Love that. It is a sister company of ours. And I had an event with a new agent. She's an experienced Medicare agent. And we did we had a marketing campaign. So I'm going to give you some numbers here. We spent $3,000 on a mailer. And the event was like on I might be wrong on this, but it was like a Wednesday, Thursday, or a Tuesday, Wednesday, but it was back-to-back 2 nights in a rural farming town. It was in eastern Idaho, and they had, there was about 100,000 people in the metropolitan area. And we had filled the room. There was like 24 people the first night and 26 people the second night. The room comfortably sat 20, so we were kind of bursting at the seams. So, and it was fine. From that, she booked pretty much, I think it was 11 appointments, 12 appointments total between the 2 nights. So, and then we had a Medicare agent with us there, and he booked about as many appointments. It's the only time in my entire career I've done one of these where 100% of the people there booked an appointment with an agent, whether it was the Medicare side or the annuity side. And from that, we were still running the appointments. We're about done with them. We've closed $1.6 million in annuity business, which, if depending on comp levels, everything else, it's about $100,000 in comp
from one event.
From a $4,000, that is about, by dinner, I think we're into $5,000 by the time we did the ad buy and everything else. That is an ROI I would kill for. And I've got this agent who is absolutely ecstatic. She's like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Let's do another one here. We're going to do one there. We're going to do one there. I can do 4 events a year, and I can live, make $150,000 a year.
Yeah, and she had never made that much money that fast.
Yeah. And so she's thinking, and I was like, okay, sister, slow your roll. This is the best experience I have ever had in my entire career right here. And so just because it worked super great the first time, and I was like, all right, so what we did is going back the exact same town, the exact same advertisement piece, we doubled our ad buy, we got a bigger restaurant on the same street. It's actually got a better Google review on it. So in theory, we should do $3.2 million at our next event, right? No. We doubled everything else. Why wouldn't we double our revenue as well? And so, so just because it works really, really well the first time doesn't mean it's going to every single time.
Expectations.
Well, that's it. You set the right expectations, and I love the enthusiasm as yes, let's do it. Maybe change like you did, smartly, instead of her thought process of, well, we only need to do 4 of those a year and then we're good,
We're solid.
Okay. Let's, we'll have them consistent because we'll have, 1.6 million, and then we'll have a 300,000, and then, we'll have a 1.2 million, and, and it averages out. But that's something that you need to teach and set the right expectation for that new annuity agent, that if you have knock one out of the park, home run on that first one.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic. That is great.
Yeah.
Best experience I've ever had. I mean, and one of the other things is you're talking about the educational event versus the dinner event. With the educational events, this is my experience, and tell me if you've had something similar with the other, the hundreds of agents that I think Aegis, you guys manage about 2,000 agents nationwide, something like that are involved with your organization.
Yeah, about 2,500. Yep.
Okay, so with that, I have noticed that if I have an ad buy, I will get about half as many people showing up for a educational event that I would for a dinner event. However, the educational event, they've got a much higher intent to buy because they're there for the information. With the dinner event, I'm going to have a certain percentage, and I don't know what it is because it's different every time, that are the plate lickers. They're there for the free food. And I've got some other ones that are there that actually might want the information, but they're not qualified for it. And that you get that a little bit on both sides. But and then you've got the added cost of the meal and some of those things. But just to be aware of that they, even if you same ad buy, same everything else, you are going to have a difference in experiences there.
100%. Yeah. And again, one is not would say a superior answer over the other across the board. Again, it's a situation that you have to look on a case-by-case basis and find out what's right for that individual agent and their business. And I honestly, once you get to a certain point, I think it's the right thing to do is just like what you guys are doing. Have a combination of the two, where you're not just doing educational, you're not just doing dinner. You're doing a combination of the two.
Yeah, and one other thing about this is that, and we were in Chicago here a few weeks ago, and I was meeting with an agent there who's actually out of Michigan. And he says, I like to do annuities, and he does retirement seminars. He says, but I'm a one-man band, but I don't like doing Medicare anymore. I don't like to do these other things. And so as we were talking about it, one of the things that we recommended to him was, I said, do you have people in other metropolitan areas within, say, draw a 2-hour circle around where you're at? And I said, how many towns are in those? And he said, there's 4 or 5. Do you know agents in those towns? And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, go find yourself a Medicare agent who's local in those towns and join forces with them. And he said that you make it really clear. You get all the Medicare business. I get all the financial services. You can split the cost on the event. Makes it more profitable for them, for both of you, cost effective for both of you. And by doing that, you can actually go through and multiply yourself. And even if you have to give them a split on some of the annuities, I mean, you can work that out however you want to. But you're able to go through and basically be local because you have somebody there that you can kind of co-brand with. But it also gives you boots on the ground, a place to meet. There's a lot of other ways that you could kind of go through and do this very cost effectively with just a little bit of creativity, a little bit of forethought and planning.
I love that. And I think it's so important. A lot of agents think me. This is a commission only. I got to write all of this by myself. But there's a saying, like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I believe in that, because sure, you can do it on your own, but can you fire on all cylinders at all times? No. You need somebody there to pick up your slack. Ryan doesn't like the minutia of things. He needs somebody who does, right? Like everybody has a strength and a weakness. So find a partner or an IMO that can be your strength in your weaknesses. So yeah, having someone on the ground to take care of your Medicare business, what a blessing. And if you have to split some annuity business, still, you have someone local that you can count on. Hey, I live 3 hours away, but I need a document signed with a wet signature. Can you go do that? nope. Otherwise, you're going to take 7 hours out of your day where you could be writing business to drive there, get that signature, and drive home. So just having someone there in your back pocket to help you and be an advocate for you in those places too is amazing.
And that's actually one of the things that I love about Aegis. And you've got yourself, you've got Ian, you've got your whole team there that I mean, if I need something, I get on the phone and I call you. And I was like, okay, I need a product recommendation for X. And not only do I get a product recommendation, then I get an illustration. Then I get a phone call. Okay, Ryan, do you know how to sell that? All right, let's go ahead and take a few minutes. Let me explain to you how to do that. And it is spectacular. Just the level of support from everything from product selection to illustration creation to the follow through on the other end. It really helps. And one of the things why I wanted you on here was to illustrate how Aegis helps you take an agent who wants to sell annuities and doesn't know where to start, can't spell annuity, but they've got clients with money, and walk them through that whole process. And I wish we had more time to go on this. If I wanted to get involved with you, if I wanted to go through and potentially contract with Aegis, how would I go about doing that?
Yeah. So if you want more information on partnering with us, you can reach out directly to me. My email address is mike@Aegis, Aegis financial.com. You can reach me direct on my cell phone. It's 303-801-8791, or the office line is 888-758-7305.
We'll put that in the link below as well in the comment section.
And absolutely, and we do a lot of work with Aegis, so all of our information's on here. If you've got a question about them and you're like, I sure want to call and have somebody try to sell me something, just put a message us here at Annuity Fundamentals, and we can kind of screen that for you. So,
Mike's wonderful. We worked with him for over a year now, and he's been stellar. So absolutely reach out to them. He's great.
Absolutely.
He can't catch fish worth of crap, but he's great.
Oh, you're going to bring that up now. We are going to get together here in a couple months. We're going to give you
when you cheat and get the pull when you're not supposed to.
You know what? If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Okay, that's all I gotta say.
We should post that picture on here of Kylie who got the fish that day.
That's a great idea.
We'll post it right next to Mike and his purple hands from being so cold. That's what happens when you're in Texas and you come up to the Pacific Northwest. It's a little chilly up here.
And it was like 60 degrees that day, and he's sitting there fucking shivering. Oh.
He's in a parka.
So true. So true.
Thank you so much, Mike, for your time. We loved having you on today. And so, yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
All right. And we'd like to thank everybody else for joining us today. And as always, click like below, click subscribe. And if you've got any ideas or recommendations for future episodes, please include those in the comments. Thanks so much and have a great day.
See you next time.